From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA, direct from Santa Monica with your fourth Stimulus check update of 2021. Incredible great news as a $3.5 trillion recon passes the House subcommittee and now is set for a vote. We'll go over all the incredible clusters of checks that have now been passed and what it means for you. Cluster number one has checks for all types of items, like hazard pay and also elder care. Cluster number two, home repairs, free home repairs. Cluster number three, free internet and money for seniors. And meantime, a world exclusive about where the Medicare eligibility number will be dropping to in the recon. Meantime, breaking news across the board as $25,000 in home purchase money is being put into the recon. I have the details formulating just this afternoon. It's brand new. Then an additional push for $10,000 of student aid debt forgiveness coming forward. I have the latest details from the president, and after he made more debt now forgiven over the weekend. Then I have new details about why the president's ample and focus to get this recon pass as his poll ratings are falling dramatically. And then we have the representations of no less than a dozen legislators that say they're putting those IRS stimulus checks in there. And then the incredible news as Sanders' office says this channel and you and your advocacy are part of the push. And now Chuck Schumer's office setting that reportedly for the very final edition during the Votorama. We got so much coming up. It's a big afternoon with a lot of breaking news, and it's a big day starting right here, right now, direct from Santa Monica on a beautiful day. And Afternoons LA starts right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the country. It is a gorgeous day, and we got a lot of gorgeous breaking news. We'll be going over that $3.5 trillion recon. It's passed in a House subcommittee, but will they be changing any of the items? They are. And now we have news that they're trying to put in $25,000 of home purchase money in there as well. And what about student loan debt forgiveness? This is coming out of nowhere. An additional $10,000 could be happening. This is on top of those stimulus checks that Schumer, Sanders, and Warren said all last week. And now Chuck Schumer set to add it during the Votorama. We'll have the latest details on that. Plus the breaking news as Bernie Sanders' office looking to you to get this big money out the door. And then Southwest Airlines canceling flights, nearly 2,000 flights day after day, have big problems as staffing is growing, and then big concerns from the White House as the president's poll ratings are dropping because of what? Because people don't know what's in this recon. It's a fascinating day, and it's all happening. So much breaking news. We got all of it, and it starts right here and right now. And this is Lalate. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Then Evenings Lalate at 5 p.m. We got a new hit show called Evenings Countdown, which is a 6 o'clock. Shows at 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30. So become part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Meantime, I'm going to show you in this recording how you can end this week potentially with up to $80,000. Yes, viewers have been doing it, and I'll show you how you can do that as well. But let's go right to the breaking news. The breaking news is a $3.5 trillion recon passed the House subcommittee, and that was 2 weeks ago. But they're still adding stuff in there. Let's go over the clusters of checks that are in there, and then we'll go to the details of what is now being proposed to be added in there with the news today of $25,000 for the purchase of a house. Wow. Let's go to cluster number one's checks. Cluster number one's checks passing this incredible $3.5 trillion recon in that House subcommittee starts with hazard pay, and also the incredible $4,000 of elder care. What are these clusters? What are these items in this $3.5 trillion recon? We go to cluster number one. They got hazard pay in there, brought in an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, and then expanding the amount of money so more people qualify for it and more get money for it. Then up to $4,000 a year for elder care. This is huge. Then up to $4,000 a year for young children's care. Home repairs, totally free. If you live in a low-income community, they got it in there. Then grants to the college students directly to the university, to the student, and also the Pell Grant, made tax-free. They got $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks in there as well. This is the CTC, the Child Tax Credit, broadening the eligibility and expanding the amount of money. How much? Up to $300 every month, every year, up to 18 years. That's $51,000 of money to that per child. That is huge. That is as that household remains a low-income household. Then they got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. First, 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, then $7,500 for a new electric vehicle. A little bit more if it's a vehicle for business use, and if it's a truck. In a second, we'll go over the second and third clusters of checks, but here you go. This is why the situation is very much in flux, and you're hearing this for the first time today on Afternoons LA. There is a new push to put in there additionally $25,000 of cash payments to purchase a new home. Maxine Waters has put this provision forward to add it in there, and it's backed by Sharon Brown and Raphael Warnock. Ron Wyden is trying to put $15,000 of tax credits to purchase for a new bike, new home. And this is as the president's poll ratings are dropping. Why? Because people do not know what's in the recon. Well, I'm going to show you what's in the recon, and you know what's in it. And if you haven't, thank you for joining this channel. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. It's going in there. These second cluster of checks start with more home repairs and also paid leave. Yes, here we go. In the second cluster of checks, it is deliciousness. It starts with home repairs and paid leave. Well, guess what? The entire recon is for everyone. Single individuals, SSI, SSDI, married couples, U.S., all across the country, red and blue states. They got in money there for paid family leave and paid medical leave. What is this? Up to $1,400 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. Split it in half. $35,000 a year, that's $800 a week. Split it in half. $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. Paid leave is paid family leave. Let's say you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Paid medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Wow. They got other checks in the second cluster like child care programs checks, household tax credit checks, and then checks to weatherize your home. Definitely needed if you're in a hurricane area or a fire zone, and also needed to weatherize your home if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. You know what I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and whenever possible, keep them out of the Senate. Then they got also into the second cluster checks for seniors like Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing, more about that in the third cluster, and then checks for free pre-kindergarten and free community college. Definitely needed if you want to take that class called What the World is LA Saying? You know, there's always someone that doesn't understand what I'm saying, so now you can take a class on it. And if you want to be fluent, you can take LA 202. It's called the foreign language class, Los Angeles. Now you understand what they're saying, those crazy people, those accents out in Los Angeles. Well, in a second, we cut to the third cluster of checks, but what is Congress doing? Congress now has a date set. Yes, a date is now set for your recon and your roads and bridges by, I gotta say it again, by October 31st. Oh boy. Over the weekend, it was just hysterical. Everyone just took out that preposition. The preposition by just sort of disappeared from my sentences. People were saying, LA said we're going to vote on Halloween. I didn't say that. LA said we're going to vote on the evening of Halloween, and it's Sunday, and we're in costume. How can they vote? Who says they're not always in costume? There you go. It's by Halloween. Then let's turn to the third cluster checks. They got those in there, and these are incredible. We'll be turning to those IRS stimulus checks right after this one. The third cluster of checks, you don't need to be in costume to enjoy these third clusters, are the checks for seniors and free internet. And here comes a world exclusive on this one. The third cluster has free schools for all checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care. Well, a viewer of this channel got word from Bob Casey's office that they are going to drop the Medicare eligibility age under the recon from 65 to 60. I can exclusively report. There you go. Big exclusive. Then seniors got those checks for hearing, dental, and vision. Two of the checks of this third cluster people really like because they're instant savings, so likes the president and myself. First, cheaper prescription medication. How this works. Go to the pharmacist to fill a prescription, and it may be $40. Hello, Mr. Pharmacist. I have a horrible headache. Oh, what's wrong, Ellie? Have you been listening to Chris and Cinema too much? Yeah. Do you have a solution for this, Mr. Pharmacist? I do. Seats for stimulus. Oh, thank you for watching the channel. No, I need a prescription. Okay, that's $40. You take two $20 bills out of your wallet. Then when you go to refill the prescription, it may only be $20. They're going to slash the prescription medication prices, instantly saving you money in your wallet. Then they're going to offer you free internet. All you have to do is reach out and get the Wi-Fi username and password. Federal government is going to give big money to cities, counties, and states. That all you have to do is reach out to them, and they're going to have their own free internet company. What's the username? The username is DC Reese. And the password is TealMonster202. There you go. You just get in the right color zone and you're ready to rock and roll. There we go. In a second, we're going to go over more about this dramatics of what's unfolding with student loan debt forgiveness. Boy, the big details about money to buy homes. Yeah, that's a biggie. And more. But let's turn now to that IRS stimulus check. That IRS stimulus check is embodied in so many forms in so many ways because guess what the news is today? That everyone is battling to put something in the recon. Everyone is battling to put something in the recon. We start today with the news that Waters, Maxine Waters, Sharon Brown, Ron Wyden, all trying to add in money into the recon to help you go buy a house, $25,000 or $15,000, meaning it's not in the recon, meaning they want to add it in there. That's exactly what's the case with those IRS stimulus checks. Coons, Casey, Warren, Schumer, and Wyden, and on the House side, Omar, AOC, Jalapal, and Pelosi have all told viewers of this channel, thousands and thousands of viewers of this channel, that they're going to be putting in an IRS stimulus check provision into the recon. Now, let's explain what this means. 2 Saturdays ago, they passed an incredible recon in the House Budget Committee. But it's a package. It's not a bill. It's a package. They can add things in there as they're trying to add this thing in there. And all these Democratic leaders have said to the viewers of the channel, will be added in there. 2 ways to add it in there. House side and Senate side. First, the House side. We don't have a bill on the House side yet. We only have a package in a subcommittee. Once it comes to the House floor, then we have a House bill. That can still get modified by the House members before the vote on the House side. Then the backup, the senators. The senators would vote last in a 2-day event called the Vote-a-Rama. That Vote-a-Rama has the ability and is only about introducing amendments or changes to whatever is given to them from the House. I don't like this. I got to change this. That's what they do. Who determines when they vote on things in the Vote-a-Rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines when they vote on things during the Vote-a-Rama? Chuck Schumer. And which senator in going into the weekend and the week before that said he wants to add an IRS stimulus check in there monthly? Chuck Schumer. Yes, this is a big part of the equation, and he's not alone. Of course, we have Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren and others. There's a big part of the equation because Chuck Schumer has the vote that goes last, and last has the last opportunity to make the changes. Here's Debbie Applegate going into the weekend. I called Chuck Schumer's office, and they said they're putting a forced stimulus check in there. She said the same thing about Sanders and Warren. And guess what? Donnie's wife, the week before that Wednesday, right before the roads and bridges vote fell apart, remember that day? She reached out to Chuck Schumer's office that day, and they said they're putting a stimulus check in there as well. Well, here you go. If you missed the breaking news over the weekend, here it is. A top aide from Bernie Sanders' office once again communicated to a viewer of this channel and said, your advocacy is becoming historic. Here is what the viewer wrote about that conversation with Bernie Sanders' top aide. Now remember, this is an aide. This is not a secretary. It's not a staffer. It's not someone who mows the lawn or cleans the drapes. It's the top aide in D.C. to Bernie Sanders. This is what the viewer wrote. The top aide said that through yesterday, they had received 1 million contacts from Lalate and the Purple Power. The advocacy is making big waves through Congress, and this is the first time that many congressional officials and their staff have truly heard from the people. And now they not only have a heavy hearts, but a renewed sense of urgency to help out those who need. And our advocacy has been so strong, so heartfelt, and so polite that it's not just for ourselves, but also for the communities. Wow, you ain't going to see anywhere else, because nowhere else is everyone advocating. A new report comes out today that says the president's poll ratings are falling dramatically. And one of the issues is the inability to explain to the American people what's in the recon. That's why these recordings are resonating through Congress. They adore this channel. They adore you because you have been able to learn about what's in this recon, and broadcast media is not delivering the message. That's why the president's poll ratings are falling, because no one knows really what's in this recon. It's not getting covered in broadcast media. The president's not getting the message out. The message is here, and now the advocacy is heating up. The president's decline is alarming. It's serious, says Democratic strategist Simon Rosenberg in a new report today. But it also can be reversed if he gets these things done. On substance, the president's programs are what they seem to want, but everywhere else, it's a sausage making because people are not knowing what's going on. There is a morass of fighting with each other. It looks like it's a cluster, meaning that the broadcast media has left Americans uninformed of what is in this recon. But you're informed. And now your advocacy to get that IRS stimulus check over the finish line is heating up and is becoming historic in proportion. I have all the incredible details, more about that coming up after the commercial break. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you need help with rent, utilities, and food or internet, here is all the big money you can get. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big afternoon's LA continues. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And it's a big afternoon with a lot coming up. We've got student loan debt forgiveness, a major update today. We got more about the money for home purchases, boy. And we got those IRS stimulus checks. We got this stimulus. We got a lot coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited for you. We'll be going over all the incredible great news that no one saw coming. I didn't see this stuff coming, and I'm really surprised. Then we turn back to what's going on with Congress and when would the vote come to fruition? How would this formulate? And how do they get this all together? A lot of dramatics, a lot of details. We got a massive big recording. Stay to the final 15 minutes of this video. The excitement's starting right here, and this is LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. You want to be part of this channel. You're not going to see the scope of this reporting anywhere across the board. This is a channel that gets you big money, and I'm going to show you later in this video how to walk away this week with money in your pocket. This is big money that all of you can get. Also, consider becoming a member. Let's cut to all of the dramatics that's unfolding. And first, a big surprise about student loan debt forgiveness before we go back to the stimulus checks. Well, here is the first thing. Department of Labor has made a big series of big surprises the last few days. First, as you know, they already forgave student loan debt forgiveness for individuals who became disabled. Their student loan debts have been forgiven. Next, they have now forgiven also student loan debts for individuals who work more than 10 years at least in a nonprofit or a government agency after being a college student. Your debts are now forgiven as well. Third, the president has now said he will absolutely erase $10,000 of student loan debt. That is now confirmed. Of course, Warren, Wyden, and Schumer are still pushing for $50,000. They think it could get done. But the president is now confirming he will do $10,000. But with $50,000, it would wipe away nearly 80% of existing student loan debt. Number two, we have this incredible push by Maxine Waters, Sharon Brown, and Warnock to give you $25,000 of direct payment. It would actually be a check to go purchase a new home. This is huge, and you're hearing for the first time on the channel. This would be going into the recon. It's not in there. This is why everything is very much in flux. It's a direct payment. It's not something on the back end. Ron Wyden, he's proposing something on the back end, which would be 15% off of tax credits after you purchase the house. A little bit different. I like the Maxine Waters and Warnock provision, of course. Then, the airlines are having big problems. Airlines are having to cancel flights. They do not have enough staffers on duty. So Southwest Airlines fell 3% in pre-market trading on Monday because they had to cancel 2,000 flights over the weekend. Wow. All right, now let's cut back to those IRS stimulus checks. The big details is that Congress is just overwhelmed and in awe by you. Congress has now reported to viewers of this channel that they have never seen anything like this. It's important to understand that Congress deals with lobbyists, and over the weekend we saw the comments from the lobbyists saying everyone's fighting to get stuff in the recon, and if it's in there, they're trying to get it in there. If it's not in there, they're trying to add it. The incredible comment came in from Lisa Rice, who says we have all these coalitions of groups knocking down the door on the White House to make sure they get their provision in the recon. Well, the difference is you are a different type of lobbyist. You are the American citizen. And Congress has never seen anything like it. And now they are taking note. Bernie Sanders' top aide tells the viewer of this channel that congressional staffs from multiple Senate offices are now taking note, keeping logs, and are overwhelmed and delighted with your advocacy for the inclusion of that stimulus check. The message is that they have never seen anything quite like this. Number one, that your messages are so unique. Number two, that you represent so many different people of so many different walks of life. You're Republican, you're Democrat, you're red states, you're blue states. Number three, that you're so professional, you're so inspired, and that there's so many of you. 1 million calls from Lalate viewers and Purple Power in the last 8 weeks. They say Congress has never seen anything like this, and this is why it's now turning the curve, as we now have Chuck Schumer, the number one guy in the Senate, who would call the last final vote on the recon at the very, very end for the vote-a-rama, saying he's putting it in there. You need to continue that advocacy, and let me explain to you what that advocacy means, and we're going to start with it right now. It was 8 weeks ago I said pick up the phone and advocate, and that's what you do. You did. You picked up the phone, and WR called Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, who's quoted in a new article today talking about the recon. He believes it's going to pass. WR picked up the phone and advocated, and Chris Coons' office said, yes, it's going in there. Then, 3 weeks ago, this channel really picked up. No broadcast channel was covering this recon at any length. And in fact, they still aren't. I told you that a $3.5 trillion recon passed in a House subcommittee 3 weeks ago. No broadcast channel covered it. No print media covered it. YouTube channels don't even know what happened. No one's even covering the provisions that are in this recon, let alone, $25,000 today to go buy a new home. No one's covering it. And that's why the president's approval ratings are dropping. At that time, I delivered a series of exclusives. One, that the recon would be written in the subcommittee of the House. It was, with the lead author, Sheila Jackson, Democrat, progressive, number 2 in the progressive wing. Number 2, that the House would vote on it in the subcommittee first. They did. And that the Senate will vote last. They will be. And that Bernie Sanders is important to the equation. He is. At that time, 3 weeks ago, Bernie Sanders said, unlike prior budget chairmen of the Senate, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. That word, if you listen to it, means he wants to hear from you. He wants you to advocate. And you did. I said, pick up the phone and advocate. Pick up the phone and advocate, and you did. Brother Joshua, Lynn Glenn, and Margaret did, and boy, were you heard. All 3 of you, Margaret, Brother Joshua, and Lynn Glenn, were told that an IRS monthly stimulus check will be going in there. But let's go over what's advocacy and what's not advocacy, what you need to do, and what it looks like. Advocacy involves telling why you need something. It's like a lobbyist that we were talking about earlier in this video, telling why you needed something. It starts with a sentence, and it continues sentence after sentence with periods at the end of each sentence. No question marks. Telling your unique story, why you need the money, for financial reasons, for business reasons, for medical reasons, for family reasons. I need it because this is what's going on with my family. I just got a divorce. I just had a child. I just broke my leg. I lost my business. My town's been shut down. I need it because this is the situation. I need to tell you my situation. That's what Sanders Top A told the viewer of this channel, that they've never seen advocacy like this, and that's how I trained you. I said specifically tell your story, because they won't know your town. They won't know your county, but they'll certainly understand your story. And that's why they're keeping track of your incredible stories. And that's how you've brought it to the forefront. Now let's go over what's not advocacy. Dora the check explorer, not advocacy. Picking up the phone and just asking a lot of questions. Am I going to get a check? Are you going to add it? Is it in the bill? Will be added. How much is it? What month? Will it vote? Who's going to get it? When is it going out? When is it happening? Who is it? Where is it? Is it blue? Is it bling? Is it bling? Is it green? Is it purple? They don't want to hear those questions. That is not advocacy. That is not advocacy. That's just asking a lot of questions. And it's important to understand that when you got a recon that is in flux, that is not a bill, that is not finished, that people are trying to add things in there and take things out of there. Going in the weekend, you had Maxine Waters fighting to keep one of her provisions in there. Everyone's pushing for something. And that's why you need to push Purple Power. That's what Brother Joshua did. He picked up the phone and called and advocated for the inclusion of that stimulus check into that recon. And Bernie Sanders' staff said yes. $1,000 or $1,300, 4 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months, but he needs to hear from you. He needs to hear from you because he needs to know you have his support. And that's what happened at the time. I said, pick up the phone and advocate. And boy, did you ever. You picked up the phone and you called in and you started advocating. And let's look at the messages that started coming on in right away. With Paul, these are screen grabs from viewers who posted them either in the live chat or in private message on social media. Here is Donnie who wrote, I picked up the phone and I called. I said, my city needs it. I need it for everything I got. And Bernie's secretary said, yes, it's going in there. Advocacy continued. Vote viewer after viewer. Hurricane Tina picked up the phone and advocated, and they're being told it's going in there. Here is Yaya, who picked up the phone and advocated to Ron Wyden's office and being told, yes, it's going to go in there. Advocacy took many forms, and one of the forms I said was, get your message out to as many people as you can. And that's what Will did. He picked up the phone for 3 offices and got on the phone at Chuck, Bernie, and Liz Warren's office and said, I need it. I explained my situation, he writes, and how I need that money, and it would make a huge impact. And all 3 secretaries confirmed it's going in there. Liz Warren's office saying, yes, the senator wants to put it in there. $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. At that point, thousands of viewers had been confirmed and had advocated for that stimulus check. Thousands of viewers have advocated to Coons, Warren, Sanders, Casey, Wyden, who then confirmed back they're adding in a monthly IRS stimulus check. We took it over to the House side as well, and those House members, AOC Omar, Jalapal, and Pelosi, also confirmed that they're adding in a stimulus check. Here's Mark. As Mark advocated to Pelosi's office, her staff said yes, that Pelosi will be added in there, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, that they're near finish on negotiations across the board. Negotiations near complete for those inclusion of those monthly stimulus checks. 1 million viewers picking up the phone and calling over. And now, going into last weekend, Debbie Applegate getting on the phone at Chuck Schumer's office, and this is a biggie because Chuck Schumer determines when you call stuff in the votorama, and there you go. Then we have the incredible details of Donnie's wife going into last weekend as well, and that is why Bernie Sanders is so overwhelmingly impressed by you, and that is what advocacy gets you, and that is the face of advocacy. Now, let's go over where we stand at the situation mark right now. Well, Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden represent that the vote on the recon will be by Halloween. By Halloween, which is about, 20 days away? It's about 20 days away. Everyone is battling to get something in the recon. So understand, you need to advocate. The advocacy is coming from all different walks of life. As Rice said, everyone's trying to push for everything in there. We went into the weekend with Maxine Waters, esteemed representative here from Los Angeles. She has a provision currently in the recon, $300 billion for additional housing aid like rent assistance money. $300 billion is a lot because the third stimulus had $46 billion. So this is a big difference. 46 in the third stimulus. This one would be $300 billion under fourth stimulus. She's the chairwoman of the House Financial Service Committee. She thinks it may get reduced or removed. Then, of course, you saw what I led with the video on at the top of the hour was that she and Raphael Warnock are trying to add $25,000 of checks to buy a new house. That's huge. So people are all trying to get things in there. So let's go now to where they could modify things or whether they will modify things. Very, very fascinating across the board. And let's go over what they have said. Going into the weekend, the progressives all said that everything that's in that recon is staying in the recon and nothing is coming out. Fascinating. And then they said that the only changes will be on duration and taxes. Let me explain what they mean by this and what this means for you. First, the progressives last week all universally said the same thing. If it's in there, it's staying in there, but we can still add it in there. We can still add other stuff in there. Will they keep that same message this week? We got a big week ahead of us. We got a big week. We got a big day today as well. They all say that everything that's in there will stay in there. They can add stuff in there and nothing is going to get watered down. But even Maxine Waters was a little worried. No, maybe her $300 billion, which is sort of hefty, considering the prior package was at $46 billion for rent. Now she wants $300 billion for rent. It's a hefty call. Will things get watered down? Well, let's see. Next. Then they represent they can make changes. I represent they can make changes, and these changes are very simple. What are the two changes they said they can make? Duration and also taxes. This is interesting because going into the start of last week, I said they can do a smaller recon by changing the duration. Let me go over what this means, and let me explain what's going on. First of all, I said they can do this by changing the duration. And 2 days later, then Jalapal said, we can do this by changing the duration. Thank you for tuning in, Jalapal. But how did I know she was going to say that? Because that's what Bernie did to get this recon out the door. Let me explain. Back in July, before we had a recon, before we had anything, Bernie Sanders had staff meetings with all the Senate Democrats saying, I want to do a recon. Okay, what type of recon do you want to do? I want to do 7 trillion. No, that's too much. Do something smaller. Okay, I'll do 3.5 trillion. So then during those negotiations, he said, I'll do 3.5 trillion. They said, fine. Done. Deal. That became recon procedural. They called it for a vote. It passed on the House, passed on the Senate, became law. Now we have that recon substantive in the subcommittee. So how did Bernie get from 7 to 3.5, which is exactly half? He split the duration. Here's an example, just on numbers. I'm not saying this is exactly how he did it. I'm just showing you an example. $4,000 to care for the elderly. He went in there, for example, asking for 20 years of the program. He said, okay, I'll just split all my programs in this package. I won at 7 trillion is 20 years. I'll just split them into 10 years. Done deal. And that was how it got from 7 to 3.5, for example. Guess what? They can do that again. So let's say all the programs in the recon, for example, are now 10-year programs. He can just switch them to they can just switch them to 5-year programs. For example, that would bring you from 3.5 to 1.7. Done. Very, very simple example of how shortening the horizon doesn't change your check. You would still get up to $4,000 a year. It would still be every year. The only difference is the program would run 5 years instead of, let's say, 10 years, for example. No program is coming out, and that program can still be added in. Next, the tax implications at the back end. Very, very confusing. Basically, there's a lot of articles talking about they don't want to really change that. They're talking about bringing down the corporate tax rate from what proposed and bringing in or reducing the wealth tax on the billionaires than proposed. But they really don't want to do that because that would just sort of leave the tax loopholes they're trying to close. All right, there you go. Now, let's go over what's happening today and this week. Congress is not in session, but they're working in this recon, in those subcommittees. And those subcommittees is where you need to advocate, because guess what? It's not going to be like there's a press conference every 10 seconds. It's not going to be like there's a press release. When they passed that $3.5 trillion recon in that subcommittee on Saturday night, it just was done. It was just, oh, blink, done. They didn't show us all their wranglings. And as Sheila Brown, a Democrat progressive, number 2 in the progressive wing, and the lead author of that recon, who was there that Saturday night, said, we worked in the middle of the night and we just got it done. So things just happened very quickly across the board. Now let's turn to the third stimulus. Third stimulus is very important. And why am I going back to third stimulus? Because the money is still there. If you're in a red state, if you're in a blue state, if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're a rich state, poor state, there is money for everyone. Single individuals, married couple, everyone, there's money for you. We're going to get that money right now. I want you to end this week with this money. I had 3 viewers several weeks ago who started the week with $0. They ended by the middle of the week, they're at $40,000 from my recordings. One viewer, Johnny, got to the end of the week, got 7 items from 1 week of my recordings, and got $80,000. I want you to do that as well. So get that pen, paper, cell phone ready. We can go over the big money right now. We can get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also other items like clothing, food, SNAP, and more. Here are the 6 places you start with. I'm going to show you 6 places you reach out to. Each place is different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Next, also listen to the keywords I say in this video and get ready for the nonprofits. First, we're going to reach out to 6 places for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. They are your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority, your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you can say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Here's the money that people are getting for rent a month ago. Nisi at $20,000 from this channel. Richard, $22,000, all the way up to Elizabeth at $27,000. They're all members. Have you become a member? Hit that member link under the video. Now, the number's grown to 40,000, with Jen and others getting close to 40,000 or more. Utilities, if you got 5 utility companies, reach out to all 5. Don't reach out to one. Keep on reaching out. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. So look at the growth from $5,000 to $15,000 in about a month. Next is the importance of getting multiple items. Here are combo items, people getting multiple items. Here's Nice, several people, 32,000. Here's Mark at 51,000. Lorraine got $105,000. Next, SNAP. I want you to get SNAP. How do you get SNAP? You reach out to Department of Agriculture. SNAP is money for food. And guess what? Everyone's SNAP's benefits are going up an average of 25% automatically starting in this month of October. Yes, nationwide, everyone. And Mark's brother-in-law was at $21,000. Now he's getting $26,000 per year because of me and these recordings. Next, let's go to those nonprofits. They are a huge success story, and those nonprofits help you many different ways. I hope you still have that pen and paper ready because we got the 5 nonprofits coming up now. The 5 nonprofits pay for the same items on the third stimulus, but with different eligibility. So if you have an eligibility problem with your city and county, then reach out to the nonprofits. Here they are: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Yes, they also help with mortgage assistance. All the same items from third stimulus. The other thing that's helpful about the nonprofits is they pay for items the federal government doesn't pay for, like clothing, helping homeless people get into shelters. They often give small appliances like refrigerators or furnaces or portable space heaters. Sometimes fixing a window if it's broken. They do incredible things that the federal government often doesn't do. And here again, the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, it's important to understand that there is big money coming back from your state and federal government. First, it's unemployment benefits. The overpayment due to computer error from your state, average payment is about $1,000, $2,000 to $5,000. Then the refund check coming back from the federal government. Yes, this refund check from the federal government is deliciousness. Average payment is about $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. Become a member today and get that newsletter sent out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time by me via the YouTube alert system for members and the Lalate alert system, which is totally free. It's also in the description of this video. The newsletter features all the big money you can get under first, second, and third stimulus. With that information, you should be able to get thousands of dollars. If you got one item, get another item. Viewers are getting fortunes from this channel: $80,000, $50,000, $30,000. I don't have any idea how much money I've gotten viewers now in the last few weeks, but I got viewers $250,000 last fall. I got them $25 million from EIDL loans. I think in these last few months, we've gotten probably maybe about 5, 10, 15 million. It's been an enormous amount of money. I want you to get that money as well. Fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is heating up, and it goes to a potential vote later this year. They propose to start drafting about now, and fifth stimulus raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. Step 2, it removes the asset cap. That asset cap prevents you from having more than $3,000 in hand. Then it removes the income cap that prevents you from working. Now you'll be able to work and stay on benefits. And finally, it ends with the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll no longer fear loss of benefits. Finally, they're going to apply a new benchmark. What is that new benchmark? That new benchmark is inflation. Inflation was supposed to be transitory. Now it's not going to be transitory, meaning it's going up and it's not going down. That helps for your benefits because in December, if this becomes law in December, then they'd apply that new benchmark inflation, and inflation is expected to be high. When I was making the recordings about inflation in the month of September, I was saying 5% inflation. Now, broad stroke, Wall Street is all saying 5%. I may go higher, even higher on inflation, but everyone's saying it will be about 5%. So that means your benefits will go up, and then also apply that benchmark of 5%. That is fifth stimulus. As we go into a big afternoon and a big evenings, what should you know? First, a lot of breaking news. The recon going for a vote by Halloween. The recon is still in flux. You saw all the nuances of all these major moves happening even today, whether it is student loan debt forgiveness, or is the homes, $25,000, or it's the rent. They're all trying to get things in there, keep things in there, and they want to put those IRS stimulus checks in there for you as well. They represent to the viewers of this channel. Make the push for advocacy. Remember how advocacy is. You don't want to just sit back and advocate once in the month of September and then check back in late October and see if they take care of it. No. These are legislators. They have a lot of priorities. You want to make sure it's your priority. The tow truck, the recon procedural, has passed over the finish line. They've already passed that law. The tow truck has now picked up the tow hitch and added it onto the back of the tow truck. It's a $3.5 trillion recon that was passed 3 weeks ago. But that tow hitch is still in flux. They're adding things in there. They're trying to keep everything in there, and they still need to add those stimulus check provisions in there. The tow truck and the tow hitch is right at the edge of the finish line. But there are other tow trucks on that road that are trying to cut in front of you. Don't let them. Get in the driver's seat. Get in that driver's seat of that tow truck and drive it over the finish line. Advocate today. And join me next with Evening to LA heating up at 5 p.m. Then we got shows at 6 o'clock like the new hit show, Evening's Countdown. 7 o'clock, Stream Stimulus, Sirloin at 8 o'clock, and shows at 9, 10, 11:30. I want you part of this incredible family, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day. Always stay positive. Always stay here. And always stay motivated. Remember, the finish line is in front of you, but we got to get over it together. And with that, have a beautiful day across the board and stay with Lalate for more.